10-time Australian Open champion Novak Djokovic has entered his 50th Grand Slam semi-final. That's an unbelievable achievement, and he did this by beating Carlos Alcaraz 4-6, 6-4, 6-3, 6-4. It was a 4-set thriller. But just like the rest of his Australian Open campaign this year, the quarterfinal was not shy of controversies, and this one has taken the cake. We've seen rivalries now, but this was something else. His opponent during the match, Alcaraz, mocked Djokovic by limping mid-match. The idea was to taunt Djokovic on his medical timeout and the leg injury that he sustained. Alcaraz subtly accused Djokovic of faking that injury, making the already feisty rivalry between the two turn into an ugly one. For those who couldn't catch the match live, during the intense clash, Djokovic showed signs of struggle. This happened during the first set when he was trailing 4-5. The Serb even asked for a medical timeout to address his discomfort. That happened again in the first half of the second set. But maybe whatever magic spray or medicine Djokovic used during the timeout worked, because the former world number one came out all guns blazing thereafter. He leveled scores, took a decisive lead in the third, and that's when Alcaraz decided to taunt the Serb. Not sure if Alcaraz thought this was funny, but even so, one thing you could tell is that Alcaraz wasn't too happy about what had happened or transpired leading up to this. Now, it's understandable. It was a fight for a spot in a Grand Slam semi-final. But Alcaraz did not do much to hide his feelings about Djokovic and his injury medical timeout. The world number three even lost his cool during the second set. Alcaraz argued with the umpire over a let call. The 21-year-old, in fact, accused the umpire of being biased towards Djokovic. And when Alcaraz started limping after the third set, the act was not lost on the broadcasters.
He's kind of limping around. Then he gets up and does it again, limping around and sitting down. He's obviously fine, just acting like he's got an injury. He's being Novak.
Well, don't know what the broadcasters were trying to hint there. Were they agreeing with this whole scenario, or were they also pointing fingers at Djokovic? But whatever it was, Alcaraz was clearly upset with Djokovic's medical break. He was unhappy with the way the whole situation had played out, but the matter has escalated with the legendary tennis player and commentator accusing Djokovic of faking his own injury.
This isn't the first time we've seen this routine. Don't be fooled.
And Alcaraz's anger did not subside even after the match completed. In his statement after the loss, the Spaniard subtly questioned the veracity of Djokovic's injury.
I think everybody saw in the second set he was struggling a little bit. Then the third and the fourth set, I didn't see anything bad from him. It's obvious, and everybody saw it, that he was struggling in the second set. Then the third and the fourth set, he showed he was really good.
Of course, fans of both these stars have come out reacting to the drama that unfolded on court. Djokovic has had a bit of history with his antics on court, but speaking particularly about this particular face-off, these two players have had quite a few battles on the court in the past. In the last 2 years, in fact, Djokovic and Alcaraz have played some of the most epic encounters, which has decided titles. Before the Australian Open, it was a shot at gold at the Paris Olympics. Djokovic won that. Wimbledon final last year, Alcaraz had the last laugh. ATP 1000 final in Cincinnati. Djokovic sealed the trophy match at grass courts in 2023. It was Alcaraz and the French Open semi-final again the same year. Djokovic first beat Alcaraz and then, of course, went on to win the slam. Now, whatever happened during the match clearly rattled Alcaraz, but his antics only derailed his own focus. It did little to stop or sanction Novak Djokovic. In fact, after the match, the Serb was back to his fun quips and light-hearted banter. The Djokovic versus Alcaraz match ended well post-midnight, and as he was giving his post-match interview, Djokovic's daughter, Tara, was spotted tapping a fake watch on her wrist to tell him it was past her bedtime.
I'm surprised my kids are still here. Thank you for supporting me. But it's 1 a.m. When are you going to sleep tonight?
That quarterfinal was a classic example of a 38-year-old going about his business and showing a 21-year-old how it's done. And if anything else, this was a lesson in patience and how to get going despite adversaries. Alcaraz has much to learn, and that's what Djokovic was giving him a lesson in. And that moment between Djokovic and Murray at courtside right after that intense face-off would be enough to send Alexander Zverev the shivers, the player he's up against next. Maybe two, and what are the takeaways from this quarterfinal though? Maybe 2 Grand Slam champions in one box was better than one. And when it comes to gamemanship, experience trumps young blood.
From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, shedding light on the world's top headlines, detailed analysis on the stories that matter the most to you. Catch it all on Spotlight at 6 p.m. India time and 12:30 GMT, only on Firstpost.